waiting for Jackie to come. So Jackie comes in, right? Doesn't speak too much, pulls out the karaoke machine, and he starts singing. 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. This kid's nursery rhyme, and I'm like, am I on candid camera? Is this a joke? And everybody's standing there going, oh, like if it was Pavarotti singing, you know?
Right.
And he sings it, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I realized later that at that point, this is back in 1985, 86, that he didn't speak English well, and that's how they learned, like with the nursery rhymes. But I thought it was candid camera, and I'm looking, do I laugh or what do I did? Like, here I am in Hong Kong, and Jackie Chan is singing 3 Blind Mice to me.
Right. And you said, of all the people who have sung 3 Blind Mice to me, you have been the most recent.
Oh yeah, right. No, I was just, but it was so funny when he got done. It was like standing ovation. It was it was like Pavarotti just performed, this area.
The fans there are rabid about their folks.
Yeah.
And they just love it.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
But how did you communicate with him? Did you speak well enough English to be able to? You understood him and all that?
Not real. Well, that's the. Then from there on, I've only met him like briefly, right? Like at a screening or something like that. But I was supposed to do Armor of God with him. I was supposed to be the nemesis in Armor of God.
That's where he knocked a hole in his head.
That's when he got hurt, right?
He fell on a tree branch and knocked him.
Yep. That's the one that almost killed him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was supposed to be in that. And then Golden Harvest said, okay, well, Jackie, you can't film he didn't film, I don't think, for maybe a year and a half after that, right?
Yeah.
And then they put me in with Yun View with Yun View and Right and Wrong. So.
Wasn't Jackie supposed to be in Millionaire's Express also? I think Samuel wanted him to be in Millionaire's Express.
I don't know. I never heard that. He wasn't in it, but I don't know. I never heard that.
Yeah,
So.
I think it was because he was recovering from his head
Supposedly
injury.
Kenny B had his role.
Yeah, Kenny
Oh.
B.
Yeah, Kenny B
was
took
in it,
over
yeah.
and replaced him.
Okay.
I heard you earlier mention that you had met Brandon. Yeah. I worked on Showdown with Tapio. He couldn't have been a nicer guy. Most wonderful. Him and Dolph Lundgren and Tio or whatever. And the great. I worked with this other guy who played the bad guy. He was one of the gorillas in the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. Cary Huagawa.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
And I did a makeup for him for the Space Rangers, a short-lived show, never happened. He was going to be like the Mr. Spock guy. He was such a nice guy.
Yeah.
But Brandon could have been just a sweeter person. It was like,
I think when he did The Crow, that was such a good movie.
Yeah.
Such a good part for him.
Yeah, it was exceptional.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
And they shot that.
And I was like, wow, this is going to really bring him
And they shot that
into his own. It wasn't in the shadow of Bruce Lee's son.
No,
Yeah.
it was. They shot that in Wilmington, where I did all the work for De Laurentiis after we sold the studio. It was in Caracal, and that was a phenomenal picture. It was really one of the first trying to be a breakthrough with the comic book, or more of the graphic novel stuff.
Yeah,
Ahead of its time. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I remember when he had that accident. I was going to shoot. Right away, I was going to shoot Irresistible Force in Australia, and everybody, they were also leery of guns on set then, and then I was like, okay, everybody check those, and they were using blanks, and I remember I was shooting a scene inside, they built a fake mall in a studio, and I was running out of the mall, and I got hit in the butt.
Oh.
Man, that stung, just with the blank, they were still using blanks, in it, and I was like, oh my God, what are we using here? But I just remember that era, that how everybody, and now, with the recent thing, with the Baldwin film, now again, everybody's very leery of
all the Baldwin situation is just, lax.
Yeah,
and doing things cheap and not getting the right.
Shouldn't have happened. But.
I mean, it used to be. Remember those some big action films? Some huge shoot 'em up, blow up stuff. And people that did Apocalypse Now and all. Joe Lombardi and all this guy, the effects guys, the armors, and the stuntmen were like the oldest, crustiest. Like you step out of line, I'm going to smack you upside the head kind of people. You were afraid to not. They looked in control. They never cracked practical joke, never serious as a heart attack, because they knew that anything were to happen, no one would say, "Oh, you're joking around, you're goofing off or something." They were all, I was pretty young then, but I remember thinking like, this is like the old military guys when I grew up around, in Northern Virginia. It's like all the fathers who worked in Fort Belvoir and stuff. These guys were like serious, and you knew not to do, and they had protocols about everything, and people didn't get hurt. I mean, they were watching all of that.
Oh yeah, well when we did Black Creek, right? Because it's a Western, everybody was concerned about the guns, and we did have some rounds, going off, and otherwise we were going to do some CGI, and stuff. But yeah, we triple checked it, everybody did, and then they go, on this first time on set, like, first of all, the gun master checks it, then the director checks it, then the first AD, then the actors check it, and then they were like, does anybody else want to check it? And I swear almost everybody on set, extras, whatever, like looked at it, because that was a big, concern. And one of my friends, Catherine Bach, I wanted her, to be in the film, and she couldn't because of a commitment that she had, and she was questioning, the guns on the set, and I'm like, we're going to be very careful, and stuff.
I remember.
It's good when people are watching, but it brings that back up again, that scenario that happened way back then.
I remember a few times just rigging people for bullet hits in the head, compressed air, and all that we were talking about last night. And I remember one time the effects guy who was doing all this bullet hit stuff, he turned around to the crew and announced in a very loud voice, "I have nothing to do with what this guy's doing on this actor." I remember going like, "Geez." I remember thinking like, I'm going like, well, I have nothing to do with the bullet hits. Well, I mean, I wasn't that, whatever. I thought, okay, I said, we're good here. And the actors looked at me. I said, they were looking at me like, what's going on here? I said, it's all good. Like we tested, because you can pay people to show here's what we're going to do. I just been doing it myself, everything. The show we're not using explosives or anything. You don't want anybody to get hurt.
When I was doing China O'Brien, the special effects guy got killed on the film.
I didn't know that.
And not to mention, I mean, don't
Okay,
post that anywhere, but
okay, I'll turn it off.